All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to today's edition of the Shift Conference, and it's been 3 fantastic days so far. If you haven't, if you haven't gotten, or if you haven't been part of this, I suggest that you. Well, I don't think there's. We've been trying to figure out ways to be able to make sure that people can still be able to get to watch this video. So we're working on that. Maybe we'll be able to have it on my YouTube page, where you can be able to watch the replays of each of the session. As much as we can do, we will try and put them on a platform where you can get access to them. But as it is, if you have missed the first session, that was my session, well, did you miss. And if you missed yesterday, this second day session, oh my, did you miss. Now, if you missed yesterday's session, oh my, did you miss. Now, I'm hoping that, like I said, you don't, if you missed all those sessions, I'm hoping that you tune in today and you don't miss, or somehow do not miss today's session. So, how are you doing today? How was your day? How is the lockdown where you are? How is the isolation? I hope it hasn't gotten the better of you as a lot of people have complained that it has. Remember what Dr. Sass said, that he said this is the time that you must be able to take charge of your mental, he says you should be more mentally resilient and emotionally resilient. So I was going to ask that you, maybe at the end of today, we might look at what are things that you've learned from today's session. I'll ask you to share. But before then, let me just go straight to it. Now, today is extra special in the sense that this person I'm bringing up is my very good friend and brother. He's my guy, literally, and he has been able to build a huge brand for himself when it comes to business and management consulting and coaching. And over the years, he has become someone you might call coach of coaches and mentor of mentors. He's created one of probably the most successful business coaching program on this side of the planet. In Africa. He's none other. Yeah, I can see your hand. I'm doing introduction for you. Wait now. He's none other than my brother and my friend, Steve Harris. And we're going to be having him today. We'll be talking about business and how to step up your business. How to step up your business. Wait, I'm trying to introduce you, Steve. Do you mind? Wait. So how to step up your business in this era of in the Corona era, and the Corona season, and in the post-COVID world. Because the truth is, like I've been telling you guys over this conference, it's going to be a social distancing. The social distancing is going to probably become a norm with us in this time, and then you need to be able to find ways to be able to do business and make money and begin to think ahead now. Don't wait for the thing to hit you and then you start looking for solutions. Those that think ahead are those that will eventually be ahead. So I'm going to be bringing Steve on now, coach in Nigeria, and that is up for debate as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of discussion on that matter already, and then he did a video this morning, and he shared some powerful content in that video. You need to go and watch it. He's doing something called economic Bible study. And Steve is an able guy, so he likes money. So he sees money even in the Bible. So, but you need to go and get to watch that economic Bible study, and then he now wore a very ugly shirt in that video. I don't understand what he was thinking. I don't understand what he was thinking wearing that shirt. I just don't get it. Maybe he was trying to piss me off or something, but I don't know. But that shirt was just damn ugly. So, Steve-O. So please welcome with me, Steve Harris.
What's up now?
I'm the one you're what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
I just want to ask you, man, what were you thinking this morning when you wore that Tottenham shirt. As in, like, even if your fellow man you find out to ask you that, I mean, he doesn't understand. I know you just need to piss some of us off, really. I know that's how you roll. You just want to piss people off. But
I
it's
mean,
okay.
I belong to everyone and I belong to no one.
Ah,
So
ta. You don't belong to Man U. Abi?
I'm a United fan, baby, but
Oh, I thought you
I'm
belong
also
to
a
no one.
jersey collector. I'm also collecting jerseys, man.
Ah, don't worry. I know what to do. The day I come to your house, that jersey is going on fire. I'm gonna burn that thing. It's good to have you on the board, boss. It's good to have you.
What's
It's
up?
good to see you, man. Thanks a lot for doing this. You can't imagine because it's not easy. I mean, Steve is a highly booked, highly sought after coach and business coach, and he's for him to, but he's a very, very straightforward, down to earth, humble guy. And then being my guy, I just literally I just commanded him. I said, I'm doing this thing that you're on board. And he was like, yes, boss. And I really want, I don't take it for granted. Forget the fact that because of friendship, I know because of friendship, you're able to do this. Thanks, man. So
Oh,
we
wow.
are talking about how to be able to build your business and thrive in your business in this time. Now, we've been talking about this in this conference. One of the things I've established is the fact that we are stepping into a new world. Now, the world we're stepping into is a digitalized world. The world we're stepping into is a borderless world. The world we're stepping into is a technological, advanced world. And then, yes, this is just the beginning of the technological advancement. Trust me, by the time our kids are grown, what they will be talking about, you will be like, oh my God, the world is about to come to an end. The people are screaming 5G now, forget it. By the time our kids are in their 20s and their 30s, what they will be dealing with is a whole different ball game. What they will be using and they'll become their norm is a whole different ball game. So it's good to have you on board, man. And I just want us to quickly look at how do you build your business in this time. I was watching what you shared this morning on the economic Bible study, and a lot of those things are very, very valid. In fact, all of it are valid. And I just think that in this time, people need to be aware of what what kind of business they want to build. Now, I was saying to them on Monday that I'm designing a program that will help you reinvent your business because as it is, the time has come for people to actually reinvent their business because of what, and you reinvent it knowing that the change has come, a shift has arrived. Okay, so you reinvent it based on that. So how do I mean? Now it means that the way you do your business will have to change. Now, and this is the best time in this period. Is the best time to start preparing, to start redesigning, to start looking at your business and looking at how can you become effective and competitive. In fact, be ahead of the curve for the next few years to come. Okay, so you have to start looking at, okay, because the things are going to change. Like I said, technology is going to go way up. Digitalization is going to improve, and then social distancing will increase, and that's going to be the norm. People, whether we accept that or not, yes, the lockdown will be over, but I kid you not, social distancing will very likely continue. So because that's the only way, that's the sure way right now to keep us safe and keep us healthy and keep us well. They can't keep us locked up in the house forever. But however, when they release us and allow us go out, there will have to be a lot of social distancing, and that means you take, for instance, you and I probably will find it hard to host a seminar or a conference, physical conference, and have people sit side by side and the hall is filled with about 200 people. That might be difficult from here on. So one must now begin to look ahead and start thinking, okay, so what ways can we be able to still make impact, make money, and at the same time stay healthy? Okay, so those are things I want us to start to look at. So first of all, I want to ask you, what's your take on people? Do you think that doing business from home is you think doing business from home is something that is very possible in this time? because look at it, it's a lockdown. I've asked, I was talking to someone who is a photographer now saying, oh, you need to start looking at what are the ways you can make money while you are seated at home. You just can't, because, but he now made something. He said, I said, okay, since you can't do what you call, you can't do weddings and all that stuff. Can you take pictures and you do portraits of people in their homes? And you reminded me that triple coach, there's no movement. I said, that's true. So the question is, how do you want to start in this case of no movement? How can you start making money now? What are the things that you can do? How do you start looking at your business? What are the things you need to do to look at your business and say, okay, this is the way we can use to make money now? What are the things that you need to start considering to be able to make income, make money, even in a lockdown?
All right, man. First off, thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to everyone who's here, on this live shift because of me. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not here to steal your thunder.
You are delivered from this pride in Jesus' name. Amen.
Even Jesus can't answer that prayer, man. He's gonna come on, man.
Even Jesus did what?
Even Jesus won't answer that prayer, man, because he gave it to me. He's like,
right,
that's
go ahead.
All right. So the short answer to the question is, this is a huge opportunity. I shared something on social media a couple of weeks ago, and I said, if you have to be physically present to make money, then you're poor.
Yeah.
And when I said that, a lot of people, disagreed with me. But now here it is. There's a lockdown, and people, they're finding that many of them are finding that the model that they used to run their businesses by being physically present is over. Well, maybe not over. Maybe in the next 12 to 18 months, things will begin to cement. We're still in the early stages. We trust God that the corona thing will end, but this is just the early stages of what the future portends. We're seeing churches becoming empty. And now people can't go to church, and now churches that can't come to you are now becoming irrelevant. You know what I mean? So pastors are now finding out, oh my goodness, we have these buildings that we've invested in that are empty because of this lockdown, and people cannot come to us. So how do we bring it to them? You know what I mean? People are looking for connection. They're not looking for congregation, so to speak. Social distancing a couple of months ago, we didn't even know what the word social distancing was. Now, social distancing has come into our lexicon, and now we can't have congregation. Allow me to use the metaphor of being a pastor. If you can't have congregation, what people are now looking for is connection. So you will see pastors who are getting it right, guys like Pastor Podru, who every other day he's having a live Instagram and he's bringing a thought leader who may not necessarily come to his church to preach, but he's bringing them to his platform to teach and share, right? So you've got to recognize that now is the time to evolve. And, I always say that poverty is a huge blessing because poverty, if you use it well, it unleashes your creativity. A couple of days ago, I made a post on Instagram and I said, don't be fooled by all these people who are telling you that, oh, if you haven't pursued a talent, if you haven't signed up for a course, if you haven't done this during this lockdown, don't put pressure on yourself. I was like, girl, that is bull. That is BS. Please put pressure on yourself because we will never have this amount of time. And we don't even know how long this is going to be. Right. So businesses now need to innovate, and to innovate, you've got to ask yourself questions. Let me say this to everyone who's listening, irrespective of the business you are in, you have to primarily remember that you are first in the business of education. I'm going to say that again. No matter whatever business you're in, you are primarily in the business of education. Now, what does that mean? You're in the business of educating your clients, educating your customers, educating people who want to do business with you about what you do, right? So, for example, bro, if I ask a question, and this is no disrespect to the people who are watching, if I ask a question, how much have you made since the lockdown began? That was not your salary, or that was not money from your business directly. How much have you made? To be very honest, most people will say no. Most people will say zero. Most people say, well, I haven't made any money. I've been at home. How can I make money? But I've made perhaps more money in the last, I don't know, 3 weeks than I probably did in 1 month of or 2 months of running my business, physically. And, I do a lot of online coaching and stuff like that. But my point is, if we're not asking the right questions, so let me make this practical. You're in the business of hair, or you're in the business of baking, but you're a baker. People are obviously not ordering cakes because of social distancing and logistic issues, delivery issues. Why don't you say, you know what? Okay, I can't sell cakes. Why don't now I have a captive audience of, now remember that thing I talked about, connection, right? I have a captive audience of people who already follow my cakes. They follow my page. They, either for one reason or the other. Why don't I, number one, connect with them? So in connecting with them, I may say, you know what, I'm going to be in my kitchen or on Monday by 12 noon, and I'm going to teach you guys how to use the oven in your cooker to bake a cake. You know what I mean? Because a lot of women are sitting home and they're looking for skills. And, most women would say they have, they've got gas cookers, they've got the stove, they've got everything. They've got the oven, but they've never used it because, they don't know how to use an oven. They don't know how to bake, So you can now begin to teach people how to bake. You can package that into a webinar. You can package it into a Zoom program. You can do it into an online course or whatever the hell it is, and people will buy. Now, what have you done? You've created a new income stream that probably did not exist when all you were looking at was, how do I sell cake? I need to sell cake to one person. I need to give cake to one person. But now when you do things online, you now realize that you can actually monetize your message. And, I've been talking about a course that I've been putting out over the last 2 or 3 days called Monetize Your Message, how to help people, irrespective of your discipline, irrespective of your business, to create digital products, right? I mean, bro, as you know, the dollar is now, the Naira is $405 to a dollar from 360 a couple of weeks ago. If you are not earning dollars, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
If most of your money is denominated in Naira, you are in trouble. Now, the guys who are not complaining about the price of the Naira versus the dollar are the guys who are earning in dollars. You know what I mean? So if you're earning in dollars, you're like, man, this thing should go to 600. I don't freaking care. But if you're earning in Naira, you're like, oh my God, I'm finished. So my point is, this is the time where people need to be asking themselves the right kind of questions and saying, how can I even leverage educating my customers? How do I leverage on building connection with them? How do I win their hearts, bro? So at the end of the day, if I've won their hearts consistently, they will feel the law of reciprocity and they will give me their money in return. That's what we need to start thinking about.
Awesome. So because a lot of times you find that, like you said, a lot of people are lost at this time. Most people are unable to think through that process and say, okay, what can I do to make money at this time? Because I think that there's been a lot of focus.
Sorry, wait, so sorry. My mom is watching. Shout out to my mom. Hey, mom. Love you. Shout out. You see, bro, I mean, my mom came to watch you. It's not you. She came to watch you.
Well, I think my dad is watching as well. So shout out to my dad as well.
Oh,
so
yeah,
my dad didn't come to watch you either. My dad came to watch his son. So same here. But now back to what we're saying. Now I said that because we look at it and we look at what a lot of people are going through at this time. I think the first thing has been that there's been a distraction from the whole Corona saga. Now, as much as Corona is valid, as much as it's important, right? But at the same time, it has been sort of a distraction. Okay, so people are distracted by and they're concerned about their health before they start thinking about their money. So how? Because I said it in the first video I did, I was talking about the fact that the first thing people are concerned about is health. Then the second concern is wealth. Now, if they are not sure about their health, how can they start worrying about money right now? Because a lot of people they've stocked up. All they are thinking about is that this whole thing will shut down in a short while. Maybe this whole thing will be 2 weeks and we'll be out of it. But right now, it's looking like it's going to take longer. So how can they be able to build a business or prepare their business to succeed when are you saying that they should wait for the lockdown to be over before they launch, or they should start looking for how to make money right now?
You better be making money right now, because we're in this for the long haul. We don't know how long this is going to last. America is already thinking about, this is probably going to ride out till the first week of June, and that's the United States. Nigeria, we probably can't afford it because the price of oil has gone to $10. Our economy will most likely shut down. So the government's going to say, you know what, how many people can we risk dying so that our business can continue, because we can't afford it. But the truth is, every entrepreneur should be thinking about it now. So, this is the time to diversify. Sometimes it's not really about what you want to sell, but it's what your customers want to buy. I have a friend who, because of all this corona thingamajiggy, right, she invested in hand sanitizers. So she's a fashion business, so she has a fashion business, but she's now built a lifestyle company, but she's produced 20,000 bottles of hand sanitizer.
Wow.
I'm not joking, bro. So if you do the 20,000 times, my math is terrible. Let's say a bottle of sanitizer is 1,000 naira, 500 naira. You can imagine how much it's going to make. You know what I mean? And that's in a 2-week period. You know what I mean? So to be honest, this is the time for entrepreneurs to remember, win the hearts of your customer. They will give you their money as a reward, right? So you can't succeed by just constantly saying, buy my stuff, buy shoe, buy bag. That's not the language. And here's the interesting thing. This pandemic will show many entrepreneurs how feeble their marketing has been. You know what I mean? So maybe in the place of abundance, people feel like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Even if I get a bad deal, you know what? I'll still buy. But now there's a lot of scarcity. So customers are being very anal and very incredibly focused on where they spend their money. They really if they're going to buy something, they consider that they're getting real value for their money. Maybe before, in all this abundance, people didn't really care, but now they care, right? But I will say this is not the time to hoard your money, right? It sounds counterintuitive. This is not the time to hoard your money. This is the time to spend intelligently, right? This is the time to spend and invest intelligently in something that perhaps, will give you the skills, will give you the knowledge, will give you the expertise to be able to pivot your business, to be able to make money or make money during this season. You have to consider, let me give you an example from the Bible. So Egypt had, or the then known world, so to speak, had a famine. But Egypt was producing grain that they had saved, and they were selling it to countries that didn't have grain. Now, guess which country made the most money? Egypt made the most money in the time of Joseph, because they created products in a time of scarcity that other nations had no choice but to buy. So they asked themselves, what is scarce? What is urgent? What is important? Right? How can we pivot? You know what I mean? Even though there's a global scarcity, it is the people that are producing that will make money. It is the people that know how to communicate the value they offer to the customers that will make money. And that's what many of our listeners in this shift conference that we're holding need to be able to do. So this is not the time to hoard money. This is the time to look very carefully and invest intelligently in the knowledge, in the expertise, in the skills that will take you out of this thingy. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So now this is one of the things I want us to look at now. So we realize that from what we're discussing now and from the situation on ground and what we're hearing and what experts are saying is that we're going to need social distancing from here on. Now, just like you mentioned, Nigeria might not be able to have the resources. I'm talking about at the governmental level. They might not have the resources that like America has or other developed countries have. Look, we just shipped in a bunch of Chinese doctors to help us out with the pandemic here. Now, so as it is, what it means is that Nigeria might have to launch its economy back. So this whole lockdown probably will not last as long as we probably cannot afford it to last as long as maybe some of these other top countries can afford. Now, my question is, now from here on, what are the ways, since social distancing will now be the solution or will be one of the major tools to combat, to make sure that we are safe and healthy, what are the ways to run your business in a social distancing world?
Okay, so let me say two things, right? First off, from a governmental strategic level, the government is going to think about the cost of collateral damage, right? Collateral damage is a scenario that they're willing to take a chance on. And what I mean by that is they're going to be able to say, listen, what should we risk? Should we risk our economy literally shutting down? Or should we risk certain number of people dying, right? Because we know that if certain number of people die, we will be able to get aid from the World Bank, the IMF, and all, because we have dire straits, right? People will be the World Bank will be able to relieve our debt burden and our loans and that. So see, either way, if you're thinking that, well, the government will just do it for 2 weeks, they may, but they have to think about collateral damage as well. So for them, they'll look at it and say, we can afford to lose, forgive me, 100,000 Nigerians, because if we lose that, or whatever the number is, we can get funding from the World Bank to mitigate our risk and this, and bootstrap our economy. It's numbers. Second, the internet has no social distance. All right. The internet has no social distance. So while we physically, my mother says she's taking notes, while we physically may not be able to relate with one another, the internet has no social distance. So this is where your marketing, guys, must become so much better, right? This is where the normal refrain of buy my stuff is no longer good enough. This is where you now need to speak to my heart, no longer my head. This is where, because people have scarce resources and there's so many things pulling for their money, right? Their children are demanding food, rent. This is not like America where the government, where landlords are saying to you, well, because of the social distance, don't pay rent for the next 3 months. This is Nigeria. Your landlord has already collected your money for the year or even 2 years. It doesn't even send you. You know what I mean? So,
Yes,
things are demanding for your attention. Your landlord isn't going to say, oh, because we had Corona for 3 months, you know what? I'll give you 3 months extra on your rent. Ain't gonna happen. This is Nigeria. They don't send you. You have to send yourself. So my point is, your marketing message has to be a lot more compelling. The value you add has to be incredibly. Your customers have to see it and say to themselves, "This is in my own best interest. It's in my best interest for me to sign up for this program, or for me to, And I will say, there's no disrespect to people in our industry, bro. Everybody's trying to make a buck. Even me. Everybody's trying to make a buck. But before any of our listeners invest in any training or coaching or whatever, please do your research. All right? Investigate before you invest. Right? Before you give any coach, any consultants, anybody your money for this, that, and the other, please do your research. Please go and check who has this person helped? What has this person done? Ask some really hard questions. Look at their track record, because every Tom, Dick, and I'm not going to say Harry. My name is Harris. Every Tom, Dick, and Sue probably say they're a coach today just to get some money. And if you're not careful, you might fall gullible. So my point is really, your marketing message has to be a lot more compelling. You have to add value. You have to connect with their hearts before their head, and then they'll give you their money.
All right. So now that brings me to a question, though. The question that, so luxury, as from what you just mentioned now, does that mean luxury might become too luxurious to buy? In the sense that, do you still think that luxury will still be sellable if people at this time are trying to, or let me put it this way, how then can a person who sells luxury, how then can that person still be able to sell their products in the time where there's scarcity, in the time where people are managing their resources, and make sure that they're only dealing mostly with essentials? How then can a person who sells luxury, someone sells maybe high-end fashion, for instance, how then can this person be able to market his or her own product and still be able to get people to want to buy, to need to buy?
Well, here's the first thing. Whatever people buy for one major reason. Will this thing amplify my status, right?
Mm.
So for the luxury brands, for example,
So will people
um,
still be looking at status at this time? That's what I'm saying.
oh yes, absolutely. Some customers will still be status oriented. In fact, let me give you an example, right? You can be living in a block of flats, and your whole block of flats doesn't have lights, right?
Mm.
You always know that there's one flat member or person living in one flat whose gen is always on, whether there's lights or whether there's no lights. Or if there's no lights, his gen will run from midnight till the next day. And in your mind, you're
Mm.
like, man, be like, see this person get money, because for that person, right? The comfort, he does not want to reduce his comforts based on prevailing circumstances. In fact, it is to his benefit that he can run his gen longer than you. I don't know if you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
right? So if you target, I mean, again, it's how you swing it, right? It, so if you market effectively, if you're a luxury brand and you market, effectively to your target demographic who don't mind spending that kind of money, you will be able to tell them that, listen, when people go low, we go high. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, and it could be, let's say, whatever your product is, maybe it's a shoe, all right? Instead of just simply saying the normal buy my stuff, you say simply because when others go low, we go high, right? And the people who can afford it will buy it, because for them it's status to be able to say that even though there was a recession, even though there was a pandemic, I was still balling, I was still flossing, and I need to be able to show you that I can still do it. I even need to show myself that I can still do it. Whether the dollar is 360 or 410, I don't care. I need to be able to prove to myself and to other people out there that my level hasn't changed. So
Mm.
I don't think that, again, it's really how you pitch it as a business to the demographic that you're speaking to. Obviously, someone who's not buying luxury, and the truth be told, they say that cream always rises to the surface when it's shaken, right? So if you want to target a luxury, a person who considers themselves luxury, you will have to be poking their sense of, are you sure you're still man enough? Are you sure? Now, man, you're supposed to be able to take care of this no matter what happens. But it's couched in very interesting ways that causes the customer to say to himself, I've been man now. Whether it's 405 or 360, I've still got it going on. As a parent, right? Will you say that because your children's school fees has gone from 360K to 410K, you won't send them to school? You will send them to school, and if you can't send them to school, it affects your status. It affects the perception of people around you in that school to say, he's not rich, or he couldn't even afford it. He just increased school fees by 50K. He told he withdrew his children from school. I don't know if
But
you
but
understand.
Steve, but Steve, this is, and I want to stay on this for just a few minutes. Now, this is,
Yeah.
and this is the reality on ground. There are a lot of people who are doing this, and because what I'm hearing is that you're saying appeal to their vanity. And then most of the time, people who buy luxury, it's two ways. It's either because of just vanity or because they just love top quality and they can't do it with anything less. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yep.
however, there are people who just want to, I call them those who are aspirational. I call that thing the aspirational curve. Now,
Yep.
we who are aspirational, who want to just be among, who want to not because of vanity's sake alone, but because they just want to demand more of themselves, right? So they want to demand more of themselves, and so, but at that time, because of the challenges and the lack of resources and the economic downturn that will happen, and it's one of the things that we talked about yesterday, that will happen. There's going to be an economic crisis after this whole health crisis is over. That's just a fact.
Right.
Now, because of all that period, I'm talking to somebody who's selling luxury out there, who's looking like, okay, I sell luxury outfits, I sell luxury cars, I sell luxury homes. And then sometimes even some of those things are not even luxury. So somebody wants to buy a land, and then this time he's thinking, okay, instead of buying land with this money, let me just, let me, what's the word? Let me hold on to my money for now and just keep it somewhere else, or keep it somewhere where it's safe. So what it means is that when I say luxury, it's things that are expensive, that on a good day you probably can think of saying, okay, I probably can hold on, or probably can look for alternatives. So even the school that you're talking about, somebody can choose and say, come, this 410 that they're saying, you better let's just put them in still school that they're learning for now, and then put them in a school where they is paying 250 and then or 300 that we can still maintain, and then when things get better, we move them back into a better school. Those are the conversations, and I'm saying that for somebody who is the seller, not just the buyer now. I'm not talking about the buyer. I'm talking about the seller. How do you make sure that you don't lose customers? Because the truth is, I think you will lose customers. Because when there's a shift, like we're talking about, and when there's a shaking, it will separate the wheat from the chaff. Right? And no disrespect with that analogy or with that metaphor. It will separate people who really have the money and those who are aspirational about those things. So when that shift comes, how does a person who is selling it make sure that the people who are aspirational, you don't lose too many of them? That's what I'm asking.
Well, the truth is you're in business and you should be able to look at your numbers. Again, remember, I said it's about connection, and the way you communicate that value as a business is very important. Now, if you stay and say no, we're luxury, we're prime, we're luxury, we're not going to reduce our prices, like you said, you'll probably lose customers. But then again, it depends on who your target demographic is. If your target demographic are the guys who, that 1%, and you don't care about the 99, several 1% customers can give you the money that the 99% can't give you. It depends on your business model. However, every business has the onus to say, you know what, hey, should we reduce our prices? Because globally, it's not, globally, people are feeling the pinch. Yes, you want to be able to help people, but people are feeling the pinch. So you can make an executive decision to say, listen, hey, we recognize that a lot of people are having it tough right now. A lot of people, this is a global shift. We might need to review our prices downwards. So for example, one of my courses, monetize your message, on a good day is 150K, right? Without having me, whatever. And I made a decision to say, listen, local people need to be able to learn how to increase and earn in this period. You know what? Let's make an executive decision. We reduced the price of that course by a third. So instead of 150, we put it down at 50K. And people, some people are buying, some people are not buying. It doesn't matter. See, wherever the shoe is pinching you, what's pinching you will be pinching you. Let me give an example. Somebody said to me, I sent an email telling them about the course, and somebody sent me an email back, and I respectfully understand her issue. And she said to me, listen, even if your cost was 5K, I won't buy it right now. And I was like, I understand this. I'm like, it's cool. You are not my customer. It's okay. Because right now, she said, I would rather hold on to that 5K than learn how to turn that 5K into 50K. But again, the question is really, what do you see? And I can't knock anyone for hoarding their money or spending it on this, that, and the other. Everyone's reality is entirely different. But that's why I'm asking, do you consider whatever you're buying as something you are spending on, or something that you are investing in? You know what I mean? People are, it's not easy. Of course it's not easy, but you're going to have to make an executive decision as a business to say, you know what, based on global realities, global trends, you know what, maybe with compassion, if we have compassionate pricing or more compassionate pricing, let's reduce our prices. But guess what? Even if you yes. Do you get?
Yes, I'm with you. Please, sorry about that.
No, it's cool. I've said what I want to say. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry.
What's up, Simply Lil? Hey, Post. Hey,
sorry,
Lillian.
there was a
hey,
call that wanted to come in. All right, you were saying?
No, I'm giving shout outs to all my people. So my coach says,
I see Shola Musa in there as well. Hey, boss, how you doing?
Louis Vuitton now produces hand sanitizers instead of perfume. So that's a business that has repurposed. They recognize that it's still, as a business, your goal is to make money. Do you get? So whether you're selling hand sanitizer or perfume, they can sell hand sanitizer, slap Louis Vuitton on it. And some people, now guess what? The hand sanitizer that you buy maybe in a store, regular stores, maybe 1K. The Louis Vuitton sanitizer is appealing to certain people. Do you get? They will sell that sanitizer for maybe $1,000.
Now,
right? So my point
fantastic.
is, who is your market? Do you get who's your market? My sheep hear my voice. Your customers will hear the same also.
Fantastic, and that's a brilliant case study, or that's a brilliant example to use in this situation. Now, I will come back to, okay. Let's talk about that. Let's round up this luxury issue. Now, so someone just mentioned about Louis Vuitton and how Louis Vuitton, of course, have now started creating hand sanitizer. I don't think that they probably will stop perfumes or their other products, but they've started creating hand sanitizers, and of course, it will only appeal to the creme de la creme, or there's certain people who that's what they will buy. So they will still come and buy it because they will feel, okay, if I'm going to, there's still vanity in their, let me put it that, allow me to use that word. There's still that vanity in the decision to be healthy and hygienic. So
yes,
if they're going to press that, they want it to be a Louis Vuitton, and they press, and so there's a market there. So what that is that what that says is what you've been talking about. It's the fact that you just need to know who your market is, put it out there, and your market will come for it. Now, it could mean at the end of the day that those that you will reach will reduce than before, because when there's more resources, more people are likely to become more aspirational. But when the resources are less, the tendency.
Hello? Hello? I can't hear you.
Minutes more. I have like 30 minutes now. All right, so great. We're back. Sorry about that. I'm hoping that we can. I think I had a bit of a problem with the internet on my end when that call came in. I'm sorry about that. So if we can see this again, please let me know. You can see me, you can hear me. Just wave that you can see me and you can hear me. Wave that I see Sheyade Femi. Nice of you to join, bro. So if you can see me, just let me know you can see me and hear me before I bring Steve back in. You can see me, tell me I can see you, I can hear you. I can see you, I can hear you. I just need that. I can see you, I can hear you. I need that. I can see you, I can hear you. I can see you, I can hear you. Okay, so I'm believing that everybody can see me and can hear me now. I still haven't gotten a confirmation. Let me know. Is it, can you see? Okay, great. So Tushom says you can see me. That's just need one person to tell me they can see me and hear me. So I bring Steve back in. Okay. This has been a deep and enlightening session so far with Steve Harris. And if you're just tuning in, this is the Shift Conference. And then we have been talking to my brother, my friend, Steve Harris. And it has been enlightening so far. We've delved deep into it. So the previous one, there was a break in transmission, I think, with the network on my side. I think because I received a phone call and that affected what we're doing. So I had to do it. But what we just said is already on my story, so you can get access to it in case you missed it. But so we'll just spend another 20 minutes thereabouts and round this off. Is that okay, Steve?
If I abuse your network, you'll now say I'm abusing your network. Oh.
So you are trying to claim that it was a call. I don't have your time. I don't have your time right now. I'll deal with you later because you wore Tottenham shirt. Can you imagine? All right. So the question I want to ask now is how do you redesign your business in this time to meet the challenges of the future? What are the things that you must now? I'm thinking that you should be able to help give people some pointers, 3 or 4 points of what they must do right now to redesign their business. We've talked about, a good example was when we talked about what's it called? Louis Vuitton doing hand sanitizers. Now, why I said so is because Louis Vuitton has been able to create a whole different product line that they didn't have before, responding to the challenges that are on ground now. Even though it would still likely be a luxury product, but it's a whole different product line. And you mentioned something similar to that when you were talking earlier. How do you begin to create? Okay, so that's 2 questions in one. how do you create a different product line? Do you need to create a different product line? And do you need to shift your your business entirely and create something entirely different from what you're doing before, or you just need to create something to meet the needs now? So that's question one. Question
Right.
two is, how then do you build your business? What are things that you need to do to be able to redesign your business for the future that we're stepping into now?
So let me say it this way, right? Back in the day, if you wanted to get a letter done, you'd have to get a typist, right? You remember they
Yeah.
had typewriters, and the proficiency to be a great typist was your speed. So you could write 100, you could type 120 words per minute, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
But guess what? When computers came in, the typists that could no longer adapt were thrown out of business. So for many of us, we've not seen a typewriter in ages. I mean, many of us, you and I are about the same age, but I think you're older than me, right? Many of us remember video clubs, right? We would go to video
Yeah.
and rent
Yeah.
movies. Now, video clubs, once technology came in, they were wiped away. Many
Yeah.
of us remembered, CDs, buying CDs and DVDs. Now you stream your movies. So a business that is not willing to adapt and say, where is the market going? Because guess what? This shift is inevitable. It may take maybe another 3, 4, 5 years to take firm roots, but this is where the future is going. So the corona pandemic just gave us a sneak preview into
Yeah.
a contraction.
Yeah.
So what's going on right now is a trailer of the full movie is still loading. And I don't mean it from a health crisis. I mean the fact that the world is really going digital. I'm not going into the argument of 5G or this, that, and the other, but let me say it this way. The world is going 5G. Your business had better be going 5G. You know what I mean? So it's no longer business as usual. So a business that's not willing to adapt, not willing to say, where's the market going, right? Is going to be lost in translation. Now, of course, again, as an entrepreneur, your job is to make profits, right? So it's very possible that, hey, if you have the money and you know where to source it from, you might decide to go into the business of sanitizer because that business is moving market right now. But guess what? You can use that to get body and soul together and earn a few quick bucks, and hopefully you don't cheat people and stuff like that. But ultimately, you need to realize that a business that's not willing to adapt will go out of business. If your business is not really online, let me give you a practical example, bro. So, I mean, yes, we're all using social media. We're on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. But you remember that? I mean, you're old enough to remember when MySpace was reigning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You remember when High Five was reigning and all these other
Yes.
social media
Late
platforms.
90s and all that.
Exactly. At least we're old enough to remember that. Now, Instagram is the rave. TikTok is the rave, right?
Yeah.
So let's use TikTok. TikTok is the rave right now. Everyone is talking and ticking. Now, what happens the day Instagram becomes like MySpace, where people are no longer interested? So all the clout we've built on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. So I have almost 100,000 people on Instagram. I'm verified. That does not mean squat if I am not able to connect with the people on social and then move them from Instagram to my own personal website, for example. So what we're doing, building clouds on social media and Instagram, it's like you're building
Needs and the challenges of the future. And then I think that will also lead me to the third question. What are the skills that you need to be able to meet the needs of the future? Now, we're talking about digital skills now because it's going to